to our esteemed guests, Associate Professor Dr. Mastura Baziz, representing the Dean of Co-Ed and also the Director of the program, Dr. Ridwan, the Deputy Dean, Dr. Siti Khalijah Kasim, Head of Department of Educational Psychology and Counseling, our distinguished speaker, Prof. Emerita Dr. Ryoko Tsuneyoshi, our highly respected Prof. Emerita Dr. Resnani Hashim, our former Professor of Kuliah of Education, our dear lecturers, students, and members of the public who are joining us today. It is truly a blessing to be gathered here today in the spirit of seeking knowledge, a pursuit highly valued in Islam. As the Prophet ﷺ said, seeking knowledge is an obligation upon every Muslim. Today, we have the honor of welcoming an esteemed scholar, Professor Emerita Dr. Ryoko Tsuneyoshi, whose contributions to education, particularly in holistic character development, are truly inspiring. Now, to begin our gathering with blessing and barakah, let us invite Brother Najib Aulia Rahman to lead us in the recitations of dua. Kindly proceed.
Thank you, Dr. Putri, for the opportunity. Before we start our program today, let me lead the dua recitation. Astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim, astaghfirullah al-azim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, hamdan shakirin, hamdan na'amin, hamdan yu'afi ni'amahu wa yukafi mazidah. Ya Rabbana lakal hamdu kama yanbaghi li wajhikal karimi wa 'azimi sultanik. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما صليت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد كما باركت على سيدنا إبراهيم وعلى آل سيدنا إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تباركت ربنا يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. اللهم اجعل من عبادك الذين ينشرون الرحمة والمحبة بين الناس. اللهم ارزقنا قلوبا رحيمة وألسنة صادقة وأفعالا مليئة بالخير. اللهم اجمع قلوبنا على الحق والعدل وانشر بيننا السلام والوئام. اللهم بارك لنا في رمضان واجعل هذا شهر الرحمة والمغفرة والسلام للبشرية جميعا. Oh Allah, you are peace, and from you come peace. Blessed are you, O possessor of glory and honor. O Allah, make us among your servants who spread mercy and love among people. Grant us heart full of compassion, truthful tongue, and deed filled with goodness. Unite our heart upon truth and justice, and spread peace and harmony among us. O Allah, bless us in this Ramadan and make this month a time of mercy, forgiveness, and peace for all humanity. O Allah, we seek refuge with you from knowledge that is no benefit, a heart that is not humble, a supplication that is not heard, and a soul that is not satisfied. O Allah, I seek refuge with you from this four. اللهم اجعل جمعنا هذا جمعا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعدنا هذا تفرقا معصوما ولا تجعل فينا ولا معانا شقيا ولا مطرودا ولا مرحوما برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. O Allah, make this gathering of ours a gathering covered by your mercy, and make our parting thereafter a parting protected from sin. And do not leave among us, nor with us, anyone miserable, exploited, or deprived by your mercy, O most merciful of the merciful. O Allah, we have greatly wronged ourselves, and no one forgives sin but you. Therefore, grant us forgiveness and have mercy on us. Surely you are all forgiving, merciful. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Amin, Amin, Ya Rabbal Alameen. Thank you, Brother Najib. Before we begin our session, let us first invite Assistant Professor Dr. Siti Khadijah, the head of Department of Educational Psychology and Counseling, to deliver the welcoming remarks. With great respect, I now invite Dr. Siti to the stage.
Thank you to Dr. Putri Azlan as our MC for today. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, respected speaker, esteemed colleagues, and dear participants. It is with great pleasure and gratitude that I welcome each and every one of you to this intellectual discourse organized by the Department of Educational Psychology and Counseling, Kuliah of Education, and Kuliah of Education Postgraduate Students Association, KEPSA. Today marks a significant occasion where gathered to exchange knowledge, reflect and impactful ideas, and engage in meaningful discussion on the future of education. Today, we are honored to have with us Professor Emerita Dr. Ryoko Tsuneyoshi, a distinguished scholar and a leading expert in education. Her work in the field has made a significant impact on global education, and we are privileged to gain insight from her expertise. We hope that this session will serve as a catalyst for further discussions and inspire us to rethink and refine our educational practice. I encourage everyone to take full advantage of this opportunity. Ask questions, engage actively, and share your thoughts so that we can all learn from one another. Before we begin, I would like to extend our sincere appreciation to our speaker today, Prof. Emerita Dr. Ryoko, for her generosity in sharing her expertise with us today. A special thank you as well to the organizing team and everyone who made this event possible. And of course, to all of you present here, whether physically or virtually. We are grateful for your participation in making this discourse a success. Thank you, and may this discourse be a fruitful and insightful one for all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Siti. Okay, now we would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Mastura Bazis to deliver the opening speech on behalf of the Dean.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning. Distinguished guests, respected speakers, esteemed colleagues, and participants. I'm here today to deliver the message notes from our respected dean. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to everyone. She's conveying her salam to all and apologize for not able to attend today as she has another meeting in Putrajaya. It is truly a pleasure to welcome all of you to this enlightening session on educating the whole child, the Tokkatsu model of schooling. We are especially honored to have with us today Professor Ryoko Tsuneyoshi, who, despite her short trip to Malaysia, has graciously made time to share her thoughts and expertise with us. On behalf of everyone here, I extend my deepest appreciation for your willingness to engage with us on such an important topic. The Tokkatsu model, as many of us are aware, is a holistic approach to education that nurtures not just academic excellence, but also social, emotional, and moral development. It is a model that resonates deeply with our commitment to shaping well-rounded individuals who are not only knowledgeable, but also responsible and compassionate members of society. We are eager to learn from Professor Yoko's insights and experience, and we hope that today's session will be the beginning, or rather the continuation, of a meaningful exchange of ideas. We also look forward to strengthening our collaboration between Professor Yoko and the expert from our kuliah, ensuring that the knowledge shared today will inspire further academic and professional engagement in the future. With that, I officially open the intellectual discourse session by invoking the word Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I would like to extend my warmest regards to Professor Yoko and to all of you present here. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you all a fruitful and engaging discussion. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Dr. Mastura, for the insightful opening remarks. Alhamdulillah, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our gathering today. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speaker, Professor Emerita Dr. Ryoko Tsunayoshi. With her deep expertise in comparative education, educational reform, and holistic learning models, we are truly honored to have her here with us today. Her vast experience in comparative education, policy making, and teacher training has impacted not only Japan, but also international education landscapes. We are particularly eager to learn from her insights on how Japan successfully integrates character building activities into schooling and how these principles can be applied in other contexts. Prof. Yoko is truly an incredible academician because she is the vice president and a specially appointed professor to the Graduate School of Foreign Studies at Bunkyo Gakuin University, Tokyo, Japan, formerly an emerita professor at comparative education at the University of Tokyo, Graduate School of Education, 2001 to 2021. So she has held positions such as the director of the Center for Excellence in the School of Education, advisor to the president, Sokuhosa. I hope I pronounced it well, Prof. And she also has been involved with educational reform, serving as a member of the Governmental Central Council of Education, various school-level management committees, Gaku One Kyogikai, and textbook committees. She is presently the executive board member of the Intercultural Education Society of Japan and the Japan Educational Research Association, and the All Japan Tokkatsu Association. Having served as a professor at the University of Tokyo, an advisor to the president, and a member of Japan's Central Council of Education, she's been at the heart of shaping education policies in Japan. With her extensive experience in comparative education, educational reform, and holistic education, the Tokkatsu model, we can already tell that her session is going to be eye-opening and insightful. Without further ado, I invite Prof. Emerita Dr. Yoko, who will be assisted by the moderator, Sister Fida Kamil Al-Ashari Al-Hassan, to take the stage. The floor is yours, Prof. very much for the introduction. To change the, I'm sorry, the slide, okay, thank you. I would like to first thank Professor Mastura Badis and also the organizing committee for setting up this lovely session. Actually, I was here several times and this is not my first time that I'm talking to the staff here, and I'll get to that in a moment. And let's see. I'm going to show it on my screen, so I don't have. Maybe I'll just stay. Okay, maybe that's easier. Oops. In my visit, I came on the 9th, and Professor Mastura and others have been taking me around schools which integrate Islamic education into their education. And I noticed some very similarities between the Tokkatsu model, which is everywhere in Japan because it's in the curriculum, and what I observed. And I've noticed some of them here. And I think the image of the person that you are aiming for, a balanced, not just cognitive, but non-cognitive, caring person, good person, is, I think, at the core. And various, expressions of that you can see, I think, in the teaching. And these are some of the things I noticed. I noticed more, but I will leave that to you to. I'll explain the Tokkatsu model, and you can see some of, maybe notice some similarities and maybe differences as we go on. Oh, do you have? Okay. Now, thank you. I have for those of you who are not familiar with the Tokkatsu model, I have a very brief summary of it, and I'll explain a little bit more afterwards. But it is basically part of the Japanese curriculum in which both cognitive and non-cognitive subject and non-subjects are in the curriculum, the official curriculum. So there you have a curriculum in which all teachers in Japan have to follow and are going to thus engage in both cognitive and non-cognitive teaching. Okay, and Tokkatsu, which is short for Tokubetsu Katsudo, and Sogo, which is integrated learning, are the core hours for the non-cognitive portion of the curriculum. And so, but the Tokkatsu model, I'm taking a very symbolic part of the non-cognitive model, and I'm sorry, the non-cognitive curriculum, and I'm using it to talk about the model. However, though certain hours are allotted to both Tokkatsu and Sogo, the Tokkatsu framework actually dominates the whole
whole teaching arrangement. So like school events, you'll see the morning and afternoon meetings. All of these are not allowed in the hours of Tokkatsu, but will be practiced everywhere. And they will, and I'll show you how other hours are used to advance the vision of the good child, basically. And Tokkatsu as an international model was actually born here at IIUM because first I came to IIUM and I kept on asking Professor Rosnani Hassan yesterday, but I came when she was the first. So when Professor Hassan was the head of the education department at IIUM, and I researched a bit of it, and I learned that IIUM was trying to integrate Islamic teaching into all of its curriculum. So I was very interested in that, and I came as a new faculty, starting faculty at the University of Tokyo. Before I moved to the education department, I was at another department at the University of Tokyo. I think that's when I came. And then after that, there were some, I think, exchanges. And then in 2013, I was invited to IIUM, and that was probably a conference on Islamic teachers, on teaching, something like that. Yes, Islamic teaching. And I noticed that the theme was trying to integrate, the Islamic teaching into the curriculum, but that the curriculum itself seemed to be, because it was probably from the West, didn't quite have, the non-cognitive part in it. So I used the Tokkatsu model, the Tokkatsu hours in Japan, to show that you can build on your Malaysian heritage, Islamic values, and integrate it into your teaching. You see, and that's where I used the first time I used Tokkatsu, and it kind of has been referred to as Tokkatsu after that internationally, because JICA, the Japanese government branch for international development, started using that, and other countries use that. And the reason I use Tokkatsu instead of Tokubetsu is because it is the way that Japanese teachers also shorten it, for one thing. So you go to Japan and say Tokkatsu and they'll understand. And also Tokubetsu is too long, and no one understands. See, so Tokkatsu, and everyone seemed to understand Tokkatsu much better, so I kept on using it. And then after that, there has been international interest in the total child framework, much more than there was before. I'll skip, I went to various countries to give talks, and JICA got interested, and so they started assisting Egypt to adopt the Tokkatsu model, the whole child model. So if you go into the internet and go Egypt and Tokkatsu, or Egypt and whole child, then you will find it there. And in 2023 and 4, I hosted the Bunkyo through Bunkyo Gakuen. I hosted the JICA Co-Knowledge Program, which invites policymakers and teachers from various countries to come and observe the classrooms firsthand. And the topic was the holistic model, the Tokkatsu model. And I also have a research center there, which will soon have teaching material in English about Tokkatsu. Right now it's for Japanese teachers, and about in a month. And both Professor Master Ladis and Emerita Rosnani Hassan are collaborating scholars in that institution. So if you're interested, please. Yeah, okay, let's see. All right, now, one of the reasons that Tokkatsu has become much kind of wider known instantly is because of this movie that was made by, doesn't work. Or maybe not. Oh. That was made by a probably not Japanese, but one parent was not Japanese and one is probably Japanese. And she took pictures she and her team took pictures of a regular public private school. And for a year, I think. And that has been awarded both the Oscar and was nominated for the
Culinary Awards in December. Instruments of a Beating Heart became the first Japanese film to win the Best Short Documentary Prize.
Oh, wow, who's this person? Hi, I'm Emma. Thank you so much, Zaria community.
The film follows daily activities at an ordinary public elementary school in Tokyo over its first year.
Okay, I'm going to jump because we don't have much time. But you can look at it on YouTube. It's actually, you know, if you go to, and it's not called Tokkatsu because she's not a education specialist, right? She's saying it's Japanese school, Japanese, you know, how to become Japanese. But almost everything you notice that is, you know, looks different, exotic, is probably Tokkatsu. You see, so I'm going to show that to you.
Award in the short documentary category.
Like this is also.
A lot of people will be looking forward to
Serving
seeing
lunch.
if it will win an Oscar at the ceremony next month. But first, let's look at why this film is generating such a buzz.
Emma Ryan Yamazaki was educated at a Japanese public elementary school. Her father is British and her mother Japanese. She says it was while working in New York that she was inspired to make her documentary.
And your comments like you're always on time, you're a good team player, or you've got a strong sense of responsibility. It got me thinking where that all came from. Then I thought of my elementary school years. Japan is famous for sushi, samurai, and anime. I wanted to add the education system to that, because I think it's another thing we can be proud of.
The film captures everyday events at a Japanese elementary school. Audiences in many countries have been surprised by the responsible way the children carry out the duties they're assigned. At this screening, a viewer was reminded of the behavior of Japanese fans after World Cup soccer games.
They not only cleaned after themselves, they cleaned the whole stadium after the game, and we were all surprised.
Give us many ideas.
This is Egyptian, is the Tokkatsu officer.
Is made within the school and within the whole community.
One place where the film has had a strong impact is Finland, a country known for its education system. Some people there say prioritizing children's individuality and freedom has led to a loss of discipline and undermined their sense of cooperation. Following its first screening last April, the film ran for 4 months, an unusually long period for a foreign documentary. Later, it was also broadcast on Finland's national television. Uti Rose co-produced the film. She says that at one event, Finnish educators told her they appreciated this opportunity to reflect on their own education system.
We used to be the best school in the world, but the times has been changing and we need to get some more ideas from abroad.
In October, a group of 12 high school teachers and students from Finland visited the
I just show this because it's one example of how our universal values can probably resonate not across even Western Eastern cultures. And again, you can find it on the YouTube. You can find actually many of these on the YouTube, so you can look at it afterwards if you want. Now, one of the things, this is a very apparent kind of question. Would you rather have a neighbor? I made it a neighbor who is a brilliant, cognitively, but is mean, see? Or a neighbor that's not brilliant, but is caring. And of course, most everyone would choose the latter, okay? Now, better is a neighbor who's brilliant cognitively and is caring. And even better is a person who is brilliant, caring, and shares the fruit of his or her brilliance with others. You see, and that is it's very simple, but that's the image, I think, of the good person, one image of the good person in the Tokkatsu. And right before I came on the 9th, in the morning, I was at the graduation ceremony for high school that is affiliated to our university. And at that, the graduation ceremony, the head of the student committee was saying that she is a very shy student, right? She's a very shy student, and joining the student committee, she thought it would help her talk in front of people and grow. And then she said that the teacher in charge said, the student committee is not just for you to grow. See, and of course, later onwards, she realized that it was also for her to help others to grow. Okay, and so that's a message that is dispersed, I think, in Tokkatsu activities, and student committees are Tokkatsu activities, which you don't really have to look that hard to find, see, because it's part of the ideology in Japan, in Japanese schools. However, the idea of nurturing the total child, not just cognitively, but the human side as well, the character, the values, the attitudes, behavior, is actually nothing new. You find it in many traditional societies and in various traditional settings. Yet in modern school education, I think there has been tended to be a split between cognitive and non-cognitive, especially in Western frameworks. Of course, the traditional framework may have its own problems. It may not be open to the outside. It may be nationalistic. It may whatever. But still, the idea of a total child that has both the mind and the heart, and so the teaching should also be both, itself is not new. It's probably common sense in a way, but the modern educational system has not really, been promoting that until quite recently. Now, in Japan, what you saw on the screen right now, Sports Day, for example, was practiced in certain communities before the war, right? But it can be linked to very militaristic, for example, ideas. Now, after the defeat in the war, ended the war, there was a big task for the Japanese society, the government, to build a peaceful democracy. That's the context in which these learning contexts outside of subjects was brought in under various a name that was not Tokkatsu, but it was very similar, and the name changed to Tokkatsu in the end. And now you can see that everywhere. It's part of the curriculum. I'll show you that. And some of you may be preschool researchers or students, and preschool is almost entirely Tokkatsu. But because there's no subjects, they don't call it that. But if you go, you can recognize it. It's basically Tokkatsu. And it's called learning through play. Okay, so Japanese preschool is not about numbers, learning numbers or subject kind of content. It's basically the formation of the human child, right? And also developing like interests in science, in the nature, for example, the foundation of what later would be the interest in like subjects in like science. Okay, and now when children are learning through play, they are learning through their environment and their peers. So what the teachers would be discussing every day would be to change the environment of play and arrange it in a way that is more effective. Okay? And then it's in elementary school through high school that you find the subjects. And that's where the Tokkatsu subject and Sogo come in. This is I'm not sure you need that, but you can see in lower high school, junior high school, lower secondary school, and upper secondary school is high school. And compulsory education is until junior high, that's lower secondary school. However, almost everyone goes on to high school, except for some that have reasons not to. So it's almost compulsory, basically. And this is the Tokkatsu period, which you can find on the internet if you want. And it is, well, it's hard to understand. The Ministry of Education, its language is very hard to understand, but you can see that it's collaborative, thinking of students as agents of constructing groups and study, taking on collaborative activities, self-initiated, hands-on, it has to be hands-on, and things like that. And that is, you can see it in the curriculum. Right. Okay. And you can see the subjects on the upper half, or and then after that, you can see the moral education period, which is a special subject. And then the period for integrated studies, which is Sogo and Tokkatsu. And that's from my book, an example of one elementary school of how they dispersed like classroom activities in the morning, every morning. And then like it's serving lunch, cleaning after the lunch break, and then committees. This is elementary school, so there's only one day for club activities. But in junior high school, you would have more, although it's not as situated in the curriculum. Okay. And I saw in the schools that I visited as well, a lot of meetings. And so every day starts with a meeting, every day ends with a meeting, led by children, often if it's in the classroom. And every day there would be monitors, daily monitors, that would organize things for that day. And then this is junior high school. And you can see the same kind of Tokkatsu, Sogo period for integrated studies, together with other subjects. Okay. And I summarize some of the key concepts of Tokkatsu. Tokkatsu is, in a sense, a structuring of daily activities. Starts with assemblies, ends with assemblies. So lunch, and then you have cleaning, and you have in between a lot of school events. And they're all child-initiated activities. They are supposed to be child-initiated activities, inner-motivated action, and collaborative learning. So there's a lot of use of small groups and learning by doing. See, it's not something you learn by memorizing, for example, but by doing. That's the kind of Tokkatsu approach. And when Tokkatsu started to be noticed abroad, many countries were interested in cleaning. I think because it's very apparent, you can see it. However, since you've been following the logic, see, the process toward the good person, right? The goal is not to have a clean classroom right away. It's not going to happen anyway. If you're with preschoolers, for example, or elementary school children in the first grade, you're not going to have a clean classroom. The process in which the children understand, what it is about a clean classroom that makes them more comfortable, for example, or what does work mean, for example. That's what is important. It didn't have to be cleaning, and so the important thing is eventually to have both. See, and so that part is often missed when cleaning is taken abroad as Tokkatsu, because a clean classroom tends to become a goal before the children are able to understand why. And then what happens is that you have a ritualistic, children cleaning for other reasons than what the Tokkatsu goal would be promoting. Okay, and here you see kindergarteners. These two are kindergarteners, right? And then in the middle you see elementary school children, and in the far right, that's Bunkyo, so that's why they have uniform on. And you can see that the teacher, he doesn't look like a teacher, but the teacher is cleaning with the class. That's also the female teacher is cleaning with the class. And you can see that small groups are in charge, like, see, in the central circle, you can see that often in Japanese schools, and it says the cleaning, toban. Toban means certain groups, small groups, that take care of things that are definitely necessary for the effective running of the school or the classroom. Okay, so cleaning and serving lunch are both toban, because you can't go without eating, right? And you need a clean classroom. But there are also small group activities called kakari. See, these are chosen by the students. See, so for example, there may be a kakari taking care of the school pets, because some children like animals. There may be a kakari taking care of their classroom library, because they like books. And if you go to different schools or different even classrooms, they may have different kakari, because children would want something different. Okay, but they often have like birthday party kakari, doing something for birthdays and things like that. Okay. And here you can see that this classroom probably has 7 small groups, and these small groups are called Han. Okay, and these small groups are in charge of cleaning different places. Okay, the library, the corridors, right? And so you turn it, well, after a while, you turn it and they're in charge of other different things. And you can see the children putting their shoes in. That's kindergarteners, okay? So when the kindergarteners or preschool, daycare children come to elementary school, they would have had experience in cleaning and putting their shoes away. See, however, you can see that it's not sophisticated. See, so even the Toban activities are adjusted by the age level. See, it becomes much more here. You see, it's not the children serving in kindergarten. It's when you get into elementary school that you start serving others. That's and the reason it's so small is so that you can't identify the faces, because that tends to be a big issue in general. However, you can see how they're pushing the desk to one side, cleaning the floor, and then they're going to push it to the other side and clean the floor on the other side. So that is one way that they discussed, and almost all schools do this. No, it's seen as efficient, in the sense that the floor gets clean entirely. And some of them are attending to the blackboard. Others are shutting the window and things like that. This is probably the small group that is in charge of their classroom for this period. And this is a girls' school, so that's why you find only girls. And here again, something that is often repeated in Tokkatsu and which I found a lot in the Malaysian schools as well that we observed, is that school is treated as life. See, it's part of life. It's not just the cognitive side that the child is supposed to develop, but also everything else, basically. Educating the total child cannot be just subjects or cognitive. It must also be everything else, basic habits and attitudes, social relationships, everything else. And so you can see that, and we'll see later even more clearly, is that the Tokkatsu period, which is in the curriculum, alongside subjects and alongside another non-subject that is Sogo, are linked to develop competencies or skills or values, behavior that are seen to embody, the image of the adult, or the image of the future child that the teachers are working toward, the good person. Okay, so learning by doing is mostly going to be Tokkatsu. Okay, and then the integrating with understanding, that's usually done in class discussions, because the teacher, the facilitator, would try to encourage children to think about this, about cleaning, for example. Why are we cleaning? Why don't we? And things like that. And then you have the subjects, the subject-based knowledge and the subject-based skills, which are integrated with the learning by doing, and also the discussions. And class discussion is Tokkatsu. So it's also, so this is Tokkatsu and Tokkatsu, or it can be Sogo and the subjects. Okay, and I'm going to, this is a video that actually we at the University of Tokyo prepared for teachers to see a class discussion on cleaning. So usually it's not something that you see outside of Japan. So, but because of the time, I'm going to skip this and come back if there is time, because last time, it's easy. Yes, there's no, yeah, it's okay. I'm going to come back later on if there is time, because last time I presented online, I think I'll show this. I'm not sure you were able to hear the language, but I can show it in the end if you have not seen it. Now, this is because Egypt adopted the Tokkatsu model, I think, quite early in the mid 2000s. There have been many envoys from Egypt. Okay, so I use this because in competitive societies with the exam, right? When you talk about heterogeneous groups doing various things, and the Han are not only used for cleaning, you see, they're also used, Han or groups are used for academic subjects as well. See, for like solving math, you see. And so they're going to be consciously heterogeneous. And there were some comments that if you're mixing, very high achieving children, with heterogeneous in all ways. So if you're mixing them with low achieving children, you're going to pull down the whole, the high achievers. That was one of the concerns. So this was my response. You see, if you see the child, which is, especially in elementary school and preschool, is a total child. And the foundation is the non-cognitive plus, and the subjects are the cognitive, and they are basically, connected, and you're aiming for a well-rounded person. Then you might have someone who is great in math, and gets high scores, but is not, the foundation may not be that strong. See, and that child can benefit from others to build the foundation part. See, so if you see the child as a total person, then there are ways in which a heterogeneous group can always serve, every child. See, and behind this is the lesson study of teachers. Lesson study is another model that came out of the Japanese collaborative learning process. And I won't go into it here that much, but it is a teacher learning process in which teachers would come together in groups, design a class, and then observe each other and comment on what could be improved. So this would not be in the abstract. See, this process of heterogeneous groups would not be in the abstract. There would be teachers doing lesson study, looking at the children, each child, and addressing, what is going wrong, what is working, how they can all learn. Okay, and then basic living habits, called life skills, I think, in the Western language, are also part of the non-cognitive. And also, if you look at the Tokkatsu, it will be learning by doing consistently throughout the school years, like cleaning, like what we'll see in the next washing hands. These are all starts in kindergarten or preschool daycare from age 0 to high school, throughout high school, getting more complex, but still a continuation. And then understanding, using class discussion or discussion and things like that, because the children if they learn about germs and sicknesses and understand what it means to defend oneself against like germs and sicknesses by washing hands. No, they would wash their hands in a different way. See, than they would if they were just told to be washing their hands because it's a good thing. Okay, and brushing teeth also. You see, the teachers would identify what it is that they're trying to prevent or what it is they are trying to accomplish, and then try to convey that to the children by through classes, through classroom discussions, and through learning by doing, which would be the Tokkatsu. and inner motivation, doing something because of understanding its value and wanting to do it, becoming a habit, but not just the moves, and something you do even if no one is watching. You see, that's the ideal goal. And there you can see again, kindergarteners, they're gurgling. You go to the other side, it's elementary school, that is high school, okay, in the middle. Okay, and you can see, you know, how to effectively wash your hands. You can find that almost in any preschool or elementary school. And gurgling, you know, especially I think, you know, when there is a cold going around, washing your hands before and after eating or coming in from the outside, those become a habit. But then if it's just a habit, then it's something that you can lose once you leave school. See, it's the understanding part, I think, that makes it stick. Or at least educators think so, and it's probably true. So it's thoughtful repetition, not just repetition, but thinking about what it is, you know, that you have to do to make it effective, or to do it in a way that is meaningful. Okay, and the use of reflection, class and small group discussion are all used for this purpose. Understanding why, you know, for example, how you get sick, what can happen when you have germs on your hands, for example, can be discussed. And also the knowledge and the skills from the knowledge would come from subjects. Okay, and again, you know, I just noted it before, but the aim would be to develop or to help the child develop an inner motivation that would motivate them even if no one is watching, right? Because they think it is right or meaningful. Now, after going to the schools, I thought that it would be nice to have an example. But because I was in Malaysia, not in Japan, so I went to the net. I'm sorry, Ishikawa Prefecture. I just hit the Tokkatsu activities, and it just came up. It's not like I'm trying to promote it or anything like that. I have the source. I don't think they'll get angry. It's on the internet anyway. And I pasted some of the parts in English. It's all in Japanese, but you can see this is a Tokkatsu kind of activity on brushing teeth. Okay, elementary school is 3rd grade, becoming expert teeth brushers at a time when children's teeth are changing to adult teeth. Okay, so their teeth are falling out, and I guess some of them are getting the adult teeth, and now the board and members, others from helping the board, have suggested some activities that might be possible. For example, assessing the status of children's teeth through there's dental checkups in Japan. They come to schools, explaining to children that the number of their adult teeth are growing, you know, what is happening to their teeth. And then the next one is what hours could be used. Okay, now this is where it becomes kind of difficult to understand, but you can understand why the Tokkatsu hours can be so short. But what they're doing seems to be entirely Tokkatsu. Now you can see that it says the hours of the activities, school events, morning meetings, these are both Tokkatsu, but then you go down, home activities. Now they're adding on home activities, so it's the parents that are going to do it. School events, these are all Tokkatsu, but then you can also bring in subjects, hours. See, so this is how you would be adding on hours that give the same message on brushing your teeth at a time that your teeth are becoming, you know, the permanent teeth. And you can see that before the activities, the status of the children, understanding what is happening to their mouths or the teeth. And then there is a discussion, the S, forget the S, encourage discussions of how to brush one's teeth to prevent cavities and thinking of one's goals. Okay, so the children are given data probably, and then they are to talk about, how you can brush your teeth and take away the plague and effectively and things like that. And then there's a home activity. Parents are asked to continue the tooth brushing habits. And then the school events, where they might use sogo. These are the places where you might use sogo for the children to present, some of what they have discussed. And the decision of where to, what they're going to focus on and which subject unit, it can go down to units, to focus on and link would be decided by the discussion of the teachers. See, and this would be lesson study. They would collaboratively, this is a group of teachers in the same school, and this would be a very common scene in Japanese schools. You see, lesson study in the school and lesson study out for those to come from the outside. In the school, they are focusing only on their children. You see, so the question would be, what are the needs of our children, basically? And what do our children do well? And what don't they do well? And how can we address that? How can we make help the children become better at what they're good at? And then also cover for their disadvantages. And that is guided by the vision of the good person. See, what kind of person they want. And I was asked to talk about this, the holistic lesson study at the World Association for Lesson Studies in 2022 in Malaysia, and also last year in Kazakhstan, because are there any of you who are familiar with lesson study? Maybe not. Okay, sorry. Lesson study is a Japanese collaborative method of teacher learning. And when it went international, the focus was on subjects. And I think it's because the America and the Western world was largely responsible in the beginning for making it international because it was English. But lesson study focuses on anything that the child needs, you see, in school education, basically. So in the Japanese case, because the curriculum is holistic, see, addressing the total child, there are lesson study on math and science, which went international, but there are also lesson studies on cleaning, right? Like school events, and that part did not go in internationally. And even in the lesson study association, international association, there's a lot of educators from other countries that think that lesson study addresses only subjects. See, because I think the framework that says that was stronger in the international sphere. However, because there is now a reevaluation of non-cognitive skills in the West as well, there was an invitation to talk about that in the meetings in Malaysia and Kazakhstan. So teachers and I went and did workshops and things like that on Tokkatsu. Okay, and you can go into the internet and look at lesson study if you want, but this is collaborative teacher learning, which supports the collaborative children's learning. And you can see some of the skills and the ideas. Teachers learn how to observe children, what their message is, maybe physical as well as verbal. arranging play. That's also very important for preschool. In all educational levels, children become teachers for other children and also for the teachers. Okay? Here you can see multi-age activities. This is during COVID, elementary school, and the top two are kindergarten. Now the older children are designing a school event for the lower school children. On the far side, the older children are showing the smaller children how to put on their uniforms or whatever it is, the aprons probably. How to tidy up and things like that. See, the teacher is the facilitator. Teacher as facilitator rather than directly coaching the children and children teaching children. And the lesson study, the collaborative learning by teachers helps teachers understand what they can do as facilitators to better help children learn from children. Okay? And Mitoru here, understanding the voices of children, not just verbal, but gesture. These are skills that teachers learn by engaging in lesson study. And you can find lots of it on the web as well. Okay, so lesson study and collaborative teacher learning and collaborative Tokkatsu, the children learning go hand in hand. Okay, here's an example of food education. Okay, you find the Tokkatsu, the learning by doing part here. This is junior high, and that's elementary school. Okay, the children are serving. Okay, but it's also linked to plants. Garden. That's kindergarten. But you have school gardens for elementary school, junior high school, all through. It can be used for home economics, it can be used for science. And then you have the menu, and the newsletter from the nutrition teacher. That is, again, upholding the types of values that they think the children should appreciate, like how hard the farmers is working to make your food, the ingredients, or food safety, for example, and not wasting the food and things like that. And then almost in every elementary school or preschool, you would find something like this. It would be a nutrition ring where for that day, you can look at what kind of nutrition is in your lunch. And very often it's consciously done, by the children in the small group, which serves that lunch for that day. And so they have to pace it up, and you can see that it's balanced, a balanced diet. And eating a good balanced diet is again part of the good child, or part of the something that the teachers tend to strive for, a safe, lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. This is part of the healthy lifestyle. That's elementary school. That's their school garden. It can be small, it can be big, but usually everyone has it. And so you can see how Tokkatsu and Sogo, both non-subjects, and subjects are linked to try to send a stronger message as the theme is repeated from different learning experiences and subjects. Okay, and coordinated efforts to motivate and improve teaching by teachers are done collaboratively through lesson study. Okay. Now, this is from, as I told you, I accept, Bunkyo accepted through me the JICA Knowledge Co-Creation Program for teachers from various countries to come and learn the holistic curriculum. And the first week they would stay at the Bunkyo, which is where I am, junior and senior high school. And I asked one of the one of the, not one of the home economics teacher, to explain how her home economics and food education basically link. See, and so you can see that she has different subjects and different non-subjects together, you see. Like this is home economics, gardening. Actually, this is not home economics, but they're making the garden, right? And then they use that ingredients, see, for home economics. In here, they're presenting about it, about what could be in the newsletter, actually. This is Sogo. And then school event is Tokkatsu, right? So they may have various types of school events, serving it to the community, group stayovers, cooking in the group stayovers, various kinds. And then she also brought this up, science class, you learn about your food, about the ingredients, right? And then she also brought these up, moral education class, about life probably, about taking the life of other living things to eat. And you can see that the mixture of these is the message of food education. Okay? This is me. I'm not very good at these things. Various competencies that you bring together, you want to focus on. Which one do you will focus on depends on the discussion you have with your peers, right? And in order to develop that skill or that value or behavior, you are looking at various subjects and various non-subjects, and the teachers are all there. And you're discussing, how you might integrate this unit with that unit, and this activity in Tokkatsu and that in Sogo, something like that. And so you would be linking throughout the year various subjects with non-subjects, subjects with subjects, and non-subjects with non-subjects. See, in the Western curriculum, you usually link subjects with subjects, you see, the interdisciplinary. And that's been a big thing that you see. But here you see how non-subjects are even linked to non-subjects, right? Sogo and Tokkatsu, in even different areas of Tokkatsu are linked together. And then you link it to subjects. And actually, the idea of non-cognitive and cognitive was missing, I think, in Japan usually, because it was, you were thinking of the total child and what is necessary, and which unit in which subject, which unit, what activity in which non-subject would be necessary, and we're going to end. And so if you look at the total child in kindergarten, you kind of see, reading and then playing, basic skills, kind of all together, right? You're not distinguishing between the cognitive and non-cognitive group. You clean up after you go, right? This is a discussion and on boys and girls getting together. That's children in charge of the library, cleaning before clubs, cleaning after clubs. This is discussion probably using ICT. That's elementary school. And this is secondary school. No, it's a Bunkyo one, that's why it's all girls. But you see the club activities, you see various activities, and then you find no. I just summarized some of the things I just showed you. And I was going to say a few words on Bunkyo, for example, is private school, and it has its own vision. See, separate from the governmental Tokkatsu vision, which is already total child. See, and those are linked into the whole child vision. You see what I mean? These you will not find in public schools. But they come under the umbrella of the total child. Now, I think would be interesting for you because you probably do the same similar thing in integrating something into the national curriculum. Tea ceremonies, flower, these are not part of, well, food education is, but these are not something that you would find in public schools. But the meaning of these activities are put into the framework of the total development of the various competencies and aspects of the student. And that's basically it. This is Indonesia, because it's gone into Indonesia as well. And they've been doing a wonderful job in like multi-age activities. You can see that. All right, that's all. Thank you very much.
An honor, actually. It's an honor to know that the birth of groundbreaking ideas and educational methods, such as Tokkatsu, was at IIUM. And thank you, Professor Ryoko, for the distinguished session. And as you said, school is life, and it is definitely not solely academics. So now, our online and present participants, thank you for, actually, we would like to open the Q&A questions for the session. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, if you have any questions, please feel free. Yes.
I would like to ask about, can you explain a bit about the integrative subject? Because when I look at the list of subjects offered in school, underneath you have integrative subject. But at first I thought that is the
So the integrated, the period for integrated studies, I think, is the ministry's translation of Sogo. And it's inquiry, research, presenting, basically inquiry, research and inquiry. And it's in the Western curriculum, it would be part of subjects. See, because in the subject, you would research something, like in social studies, you would write a report. If you're in the higher grades, you would write a report. You may present to others. See, so Japan has taken that part out of the subject lining, so that it can be linked to any subject, or it can also be linked to like Tokkatsu. And it can be used in any way that the school members decide. You see, so for example, drills, for the earthquakes, like Japan has a lot of them, can take place as Sogo. Then it would probably emphasize, researching and going into the community and interviewing and putting together and presenting things like that, or the Tokkatsu, which is the doing part of the evacuation, and both can be put together, which is, very often is the case.
Thank you so much, Bob. Thank you.
Oh, and Sogo doesn't have to be in small groups. It can be only you that is interested in something. You see, again, you have different goal in mind, but all of those the competencies and the skills and the behavior you want are part of the image of the child you want.
Okay. Do we have another question? Yes. Moving on.
Maybe I'll just shout.
Yeah, yes, I can hear.
Thank you so much for the very presentation. Very exciting, very interesting. I'm just curious about things. The first, I mean, I noticed your picture of the garden reminds me of Dewey and his idea of the garden school. But do you face any opposition from parents when they see their children cleaning or serving? That's the first question. And the second question, do you have any kind of evaluation or assessment for those Tokkatsu?
Yes, about the, because it's done, you see, it's done that way. And they started in preschool and it's only a continuation in elementary school. It's not that, it's not something that parents would, find offending, for example, in Japan. But when it's transferred abroad, like in Egypt, no, that is a big problem. See, you have janitors, right, who are supposed to doing their job, right? And the children, especially if they have like people cleaning their houses, then the parents don't want them to do, labor, right, basically. And that's a big problem. And it's something that like JICA, when it took it to other countries, would face. But then I think there's a discussion with that because it is not supposed to be some cleaning, for example, is something that is necessary for that classroom to be a comfortable place for everyone to learn. And even if you have janitors doing, you also have children doing, and I think that's one thing that is actually a point of discussion when it's transferred abroad. And I remember that with the transferring to Egypt, it was a big problem. But parents tend toilet, no, it may be something that parents are opposed to the end. It doesn't happen. But other cleaning, like cleaning here, it seems to be working out. And especially, but one of the reasons we made this video, which I didn't show because of the time, was because when the cleaning went to Egypt, you see, it spread too fast. See, cleaning is easy to copy, right? So it's spread too fast, and children started cleaning. But when we saw the videos, it looked very competitive. Who's best in our team? That kind, which is not what Tokkatsu was supposed to be about. So that's how because I was recommended Tokkatsu to be a part of something that you might offer to JICA might offer abroad. I feel very responsible for that. And so my students and I designed that, showed a regular session on cleaning, class discussion on cleaning, in which they were saying, that thinking of why they wanted to clean their classroom, why they should want to clean their classroom. It's not clean yet, but why they want to. And so I tried to do that because, just cleaning and Tokkatsu cleaning is very different.
That reminds me of another issue that I wanted. If a child is so-called naughty, doesn't want to do it, or doesn't do it well.
Yes.
Is there punishment? How do you deal with that?
That's where the peers come in. They're supposed to be, encouraging the child and discussing, and it can become a classroom discussion topic. Why do you want to clean, or why don't you want to clean? Might become, and so you could have children. Very often you do have children that don't want to clean. It usually happens in preschool rather than afterwards. But you do have that, and that becomes part of the learning process. See, I think that's the part. You have someone that is not quite in it, that's fine, it's part of the cleaning process. And of course, the others will have to do more, right, to make the classroom clean. But there's this strong ideology, I think, that you do not, say the reason I'm cleaning, more is because of you. That's the wrong idea. So there's a very strong kind of ideology that, tries to make children patient in waiting for that child to realize that. And it's not just the cleaning in that sense, it's watching their peers, right? And again, there are criticisms of in some cases where there's peer pressure too much and use of it. And then if the teachers can't catch that in their own in-school research groups, they can go to the national and the local teachers research groups, because teachers form that kind of thing, and they can watch other children. Very different children in different prefectures, right? And that would be where the teachers exchange their ideas. Just that you have to be motivated enough to go to those, sessions. In school is everyone, see? Even the most unmotivated teacher has to be there. So again, that would be a place where you would have colleagues kind of trying to coax the teacher that doesn't want to be there, for example, that there is meaning in being there. It's a kind of mirror learning process of children and teachers.
It's building culture, isn't it?
It's building culture, school culture, yes. But I'm sure, it's easier in some countries and not others. Because when they went into the US, for example, you're not used to being forced to stay and do, discuss with your peers, right? I mean, you can go to another workshop and it might advance your career, but inside the school, so in that instance, I think it was teachers that want to be there, actually, in America. So, there's universal kind of issues, but the way it's addressed, I think, depends a lot on the context. My impression with seeing the Malaysian schools is that there are many probably parallel kind of behaviors in the teachers.
Is there any kind of evaluation of?
Evaluation. Evaluation, you do have, but it's not in numbers. It's usually written by the teacher. And elementary school, usually it doesn't matter, right? It's mostly to the parents and to the child, encouraging them in observation. So I'm sure that the teachers have to keep records of each child physically in order to be able to comment on more improvements.
Would that go towards any kind of consequence? I mean, for example, if they didn't do well, would it matter?
It would make your life miserable, right? So, I mean, that matters, I think. It's not that you would get scores. Yes, the group would care. Yes, you will make your group unhappy as well. It's true. You will make your friends unhappy as well, but I think the teachers are not supposed to go in and scold, and it's much more. How can we get everyone to kind of join us, kind of thing? I mean, you can be totally indifferent to things like that and don't care at all about your friends saying, let's go and try it. See how even in that movie, the teacher is kind of sweeping with the child. So they do that kind of thing, kind of facilitate, and then your peers will not be as tolerant as the teacher, right? So again, that I think that is what is the evaluation, much more than
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Shakur, for the interesting questions. Yes.
Okay, I was very interested when you say you mentioned that this is a whole child on that can you hear my voice? Okay. All right, I was interested when you mentioned about the whole child approach, and I was wondering, in that approach, when do you introduce literacy? You know, I want to see the whole thing is actually about doing things, right? So when you introduce, you have to wait until elementary school, or there's nothing done at the, we call it, preschool level?
I think you saw it, when it comes up at preschool level, when, for example, it comes up in what time do you think, we have to eat or something like that, then they would start looking at the time. Your name, you want to be able to write your name. So when the necessity comes, you do it. See? And then in elementary school, it will start as subjects. But the foundation is seen as more important, right? So when the necessity is there, then you do it. And also
Culture and value base at the beginning.
at the beginning, it's building social skills, character. And also, it's not just the numbers that come in. It's also parts of the subjects that are related. For example, they would be growing crop, and then they would be interested in how plants grow. They can write pictures, and it will be in their file, for example. Usually, kindergartens or preschools would have children gathering nuts, and insects and things like that, and they can learn about it. It would probably help the child when they get into elementary school in terms of interest and some knowledge, but it's not taught like a subject.
So can I sum up as like exploratory?
Exploratory, yes, yeah. Do you want this? Yes.
Okay, now moving on to our digital participants. They have quite a number of questions. Yeah. So Mohammed bin Khalid or bin Muhammad Khalid says, it seems that Tokkatsu needs to be implemented from kindergarten stage. Any advice or experience on implementing from elementary, 7 years old and above? In Malaysia, he says, kindergarten is not standard as in Japan. Since public kindergarten is not available at all, many have to send to private ones. So, yeah.
Kindergartens in Japan also were mostly public, private. It doesn't really matter, but it doesn't have to start at preschool. It just makes it easier because it's a continuation. I mean, I think countries that have transferred it have not necessarily started from preschool. It probably doesn't matter. And you see, what the child needs may differ by the school, right? And the teachers would be the ones that would identify that. You can have a very high achieving, for example, I found this in one of the elementary schools I observed, a very high achieving district. However, because the parents are both working and maybe they don't have, are not playing with each other after school, the teachers identified the target as building communication between the children and those that are of a different age, because that would be what they would be lacking in the community.
Actually, speaking of parents, there is a question that says, you mentioned about home activities. How is that done? And how do parents play a role in that? For example, is it brought up in parent-teacher meetings, or are the learning objectives of the activities shared with the parents?
Yes. Yes, it depends on the school again. The way they communicate with the parents differ, but they would get a notice, I'm sure.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. How does Tokkatsu build a sense of community or belonging among students? In your opinion, Prof, how much of it is due to the Tokkatsu?
Well, Japanese schools, try to build a sense of belonging, a stability, I think. And it's not just Tokkatsu, but Tokkatsu is a smaller unit, you see, a small group within a larger group of classroom, which is has another larger group, the school, and then you have the community. See, so it's all of those, I think.
Okay.
And I think it does have a large impact because Tokkatsu is basically doing things that are necessary for your community, for your classroom community.
It's definitely beneficial, yeah. But there is a question that goes from Amir Arshad. Any challenges from the implementation of Tokkatsu that you managed to observe, especially from educational environment outside of Japan?
Yeah.
For example, you talked about Egypt. So have you observed any challenges when implementing this?
I'm sure I'm not the one to speak about that, but I think there, of course, it's been, but the Tokkatsu has like class discussions, and it's small groups, and they have to work things out, and then they have chores that they do together collaboratively. Those things that develop kind of cooperative feelings among the members, and if it doesn't, then that's when the teacher can break in, intervene, right?
Okay, so interesting. Have you noticed any conflicting values among students and their different family backgrounds, cultural backgrounds when implementing this? Please enlighten me. Yeah.
And that would be identified by the teachers, though. I mean, in some more socially economically difficult communities, brushing your teeth, for example, there may be more cavities, and you would find that from the school dentist, right? And then I know schools that focus on living habits, especially brushing teeth, because that was seen as something that the children need. But then just brushing teeth, it would become a ritual, you see, and then they won't do it at home. So the process has to be accompanied by understanding why, right? And that they would find meaning in it, even if the teacher's not there or the peers are not there.
Communication is key.
Yeah.
Okay. So another question from Amy Farana. She said that she's a lecturer and teacher in early education, childhood education. She wants to know if Tokkatsu model can be implemented in a small scale setting.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Even in a classroom.
Okay, great.
Or out of the classroom, actually after schools also do that.
Okay, that's great. Do we have more questions from present participants? Yes, please.
And if you want to see the video, I think you can, I'll leave it with you so you can show it later.
Yes, I'll share it.
I want to ask about the word holistic, because this Tokkatsu model is supposed to be holistic, the holistic development of the child. And for us Muslims, okay, we cannot run away from the concept of the spiritual development of the child. So the students allowed, especially during the discussion, to have elements of, like God fearing, doing things for the sake of God. Do you have this? What is the stand of your Ministry of Education when it comes to spiritual development of the student?
There are religious schools, like Christian schools, Buddhist schools, which are private, would be private, which would bring in these elements. To the framework would be the total child, and the spiritual part would come in the discussions and identity building reasons for doing very similar things to the usual Tokkatsu. See, because in the regular Tokkatsu in public schools, yeah, it would be the good person, the good citizen, the civil person. In religious schools, they would, of course, link that to their religion. And Buddhism would be, and you saw like even in private school that does not have a religious affiliation, they do have their own traditions, right? There's things that the public schools would not have, but that would come under the umbrella of the total child. Yeah.
That's great. Do we have more questions from our, okay, please.
Well, I noticed in your slide, you mentioned something about you noticed something about the result and then the process. The result can equate it with a product and the process from the curriculum perspective. So in the daily teaching, how do you balance between two? Which of them you put more emphasis? Is it on the process or is it on the product?
For the non-cognitive, character building it's definitely the process of things. The product, the end would come if the process is understood. See, and I think one of the things that is different with subjects is that subjects you have tests, right? And you have the exam, you have to have the results, right? The process can often be compromised, because test taking skills can be, very emphasized. But even in subject learning, actually, that is probably not the best way to to understand what is really the scholars in that field or whatever liked about it and thought was meaningful. But in character parts, that non-cognitive, you don't have those tests. Oh, maybe you do in other ways, but you don't, and it's much more observation and things like that. So the process is should be, and definitely, and that is one of the difficulties. However, for example, like sports day, the process of getting there is the point, right? For Tokkatsu, for teachers who like Tokkatsu, getting there is the point, right? The ending point is the sports day is just a natural result of the process of getting together and growing as a person and collaborating. But now with the pressure on decreasing the hours, then you can't practice as much. See, so that's been a big issue with Tokkatsu teachers, and trying how can you bring in the essence of learning from each other, which you used to do in 6 hours, into 2 hours. So I see your point, but I think it's different with Tokkatsu. It's definitely the process.
Thank you, Prof. We don't want to exhaust you with questions, but there are 2 last questions from our digital. Oh, we have. Okay, can we take this one? There is a question here.
I read that you said just now that Tokkatsu is born in IIM. And then based on your experience with Prof. Rosmani and the Islamic culture and all the things that you observe, what do you see perhaps the similarities between the Tokkatsu and the Islamic values?
There's of course a difference in, I think the what you are striving for in someone that you think is happy, contributes to others, to the society, to the world, and is in herself or himself is grows. I think that image is similar. See, so a safe lifestyle, healthy lifestyle, a caring lifestyle, that kind of image, and trying to promote that in education, I think is very similar.
Thank you.
One more, please.
Um,
Just a short one.
Sure.
It doesn't require an answer, actually, it's just a request. Because in order to implement this, obviously a lot of planning is needed, a lot of work, maybe committees. Is this done by the ministry? Is it done by the school? How can we find out how to do it?
Lesson study is actually very attractive, I think, to the West. You see, so you find lots of information on the web if you just go lesson study. How do you find the time is actually a big problem, I do think. It's not just for lesson study, but it's also for these. And in the Japanese case, all the schools do it. So it's long, you see. So and you can arrange certain hours for that kind of purpose, or you can probably use like lunch before. And also another thing that they do is, as I said, you have monitors, children monitoring, and then you don't have to be there. See, because the classroom would be monitored by the children in charge, and then the teachers can get together and discuss during that which they do, in the morning, at lunch.
I cannot say no. Thank you. I just want to add on that, because, yeah, what you're saying. I guess when you say that that's Islamic values being inculcated, we preach a lot, but we learn, put into practice. That's something that I learned from your Tokkatsu, okay? My question. So yeah, we came here this time to see whether you find Tokkatsu in the schools that Masura was doing conversation. I'm just curious, do you find any and what they, how does it work? She was doing education with my education with Fatma. Yes. So can you share your variation of your music? I mean, from the few schools? Do you see?
Yes, I do. I do see. Yes, practices. Of course, the religion is different, but the values that and the behavior that is being promoted, I see a lot of similarities. And I've always been interested in integrating, you see, the scholarship and also the non-cognitive side, you see, because that's the only way we're going to get a mass of people that will lead to a stable, safe, and well-being society, basically. And so when I was in the 90s, when I visited Professor Hassim, that was my intention, and I found you on the web, and I contacted you without thinking that there would be a response. But after that, we had a friendship. And Master Sensei is now doing education with Rahma. So I'm not going to talk about that because I don't know, but we are trying to write something together. So hopefully you can find the parallels in there. And I do see a lot of behavioral pattern. And I was surprised to find Finnish envoys coming. Now I would like to see what they see in this rather collaborative kind of, because all of Tokkatsu is about others. See, Sogo has always been very popular with the Western scholars of Japanese education because it's very individual. It can be individualistic. You can be one person that's interested in this, fine. Tokkatsu, as you can see, is all collaborative, a small group. So it wasn't something that would instantly appeal to Western educators, and now it's coming. You find the West. So maybe it's society, changes in the international society, and of course you can probably I would love to learn from other integrated teaching, and that's why I'm here, and I would like to learn, and hopefully we will get it into our pieces together, articles and books together. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thank you so much. If it's not a fruitful topic, it wouldn't have raised this amount of questions. So thank you so much. We apologize for our online digital questions, the participants, and for the present participants as well. Thank you so much for your questions. Now I hand over the floor to Dr. Putre for the remaining agenda. Thank you, Prof.
Prof, you may remain on stage. Okay. Okay, thank you, Sister Fida. Alhamdulillah, we have reached the end of this enlightening session, Prof. Okay, so for your information, Prof, today is our 11th day of Ramadan or 12th? 11th day. 11th day of Ramadan. But you can see that all the enthusiastic faces in front of you here. Okay, despite of fasting. Okay, so the topic is very much interesting and very much related to all of us here. Okay, and just now when you mentioned about Miduro, Prof, it really reminds us about the teaching of our Prophet. Okay, understanding the voices of children. Okay, so that's what has been taught by our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as well. Okay, and with that teaching, he even showed the example to all of us. Okay, whereby when he played with the grandsons, he became the horse. Okay, because he understands what the children like. Okay. Okay, so dear brothers and sisters, okay, in relation to this topic today, our Prof. Emerita, Dr. Resnani, has written a very good book related to the topic. Okay, so with that, we would like to invite Prof. Resnani, okay, to present, to share about her book. Okay, fatafadal mashkura, Prof.
Okay, I'll be silent. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wasallam. Thank you very much for inviting me to this event and also for allowing me this platform for maybe 5 minutes. I would like to share with you something about my friendship with Professor Royoko. Not to be arrogant or what, but to mentor you. Okay, I knew Dr. Royoko, or Prof. Royoko, okay, since 1996 when I was the head of the Department of Education. And I thought you came here because you read my book, Educational Dualism. And you were looking for integration. That was what the point you mentioned to me, okay? So that's why you came here, okay? Because you read that book. And then I did not know until today that she what do you call this, worked on the Tokkatsu, you know, from the experience of IUM. Okay? Today, she reveals to me. Okay? So that's a revelation. But that was what she came for. And then we went to Abim School in Kajang because she wanted to see an Islamic school, you know. And actually, it's a long friendship. 2001, she invited me to Japan because of September 11. I remember that. I was sitting on the same platform with Prof. Chandra Muzaffar. Okay. And then again, I visited her under the Japan Fellowship Foundation in was 2006 or 7 after I went to Montgomery. But she's not my only Japanese friend. I have 2 more friends. When I say friends, I mean they are very close friends. That's why in this book, I mentioned your name as a close friend. Okay. They are from Nagoya University. After that, I was invited to Nagoya University, before Tokyo then Nagoya. What I want to say is that this, as potential scholars, okay, early in your career, you must start to build relationship and friendship, not just among your local friends, but also among international scholars. And you get known, okay, through your writings. Therefore, as lecturers and
budding scholars, you must write and put it at the international level as well. But not write for the sake of KPI or for the sake of scopus, impact, whatever. Right? Because you have something to say. That's my point here, okay? And so I've been to Japan a couple of times, and I visited school in Tokyo. I visited school in Nagoya, preschool, primary school. In Japan, we were doing research on the use of English in Japan, and that's where you realize how time conscious and punctual the Japanese people are. Okay, I remember the first time I went to Japan in 2001. I think was really what a foreign country looks like. You know, because if I go to England, we get foreign country, right? It's not foreign because I can read English. I can understand what's around me. But when I went to Japan the first time, it's really foreign. Nobody speaks English. You don't see any English words. She has to give me a letter for the taxi driver to take me to see her at the university. I just showed the taxi driver the Japanese thing. So that's how foreign it was. But the second time I went in 2006, I think you begin to see at least some English words. You can read the station that you're going on the train. First time, you don't know the station, you know. You see only Japanese words. Okay, so that is how my visit to Japan from 2001 itself drove me the idea to share the Japanese holistic education to us Malaysian and Muslim, because we preach a lot. Let's think about cleanliness. Cleanliness is half of Iman, right? Modesty is half of Iman. You do not see how modest the Japanese people that they are. You know, they're very timid. You know, you go to the shop, they're very timid. You know. Not timid, they're very gentle. They're not like the West. West are very rough. That's why I appreciated their gentleness. It's easy to make friends with them as well, you know. Their humility, humbleness. That's the thing that I realized. So there's so much thing that is in there in that society that in fact that we could share, we could change our. You see, you have seen, I think, pictures of Japanese pilgrims doing Hajj, collecting waste papers. You don't see that among other pilgrims. The Japanese will do that. Why do they do that? It's a habit, but also inculcated as part of the religion. We say it's part of our religion, but I don't have it. So that's why I wrote this book, because I was invited. Malaysian Ministry of Education wanted to do the Tokkatsu, wanted to do Japanese model in Malaysia. So somehow or other, my name was with the Japanese Foundation for my research and so on. So I know Hafiz, the GK man. So he came and invited me to talk to a few groups of teachers about Tokkatsu. When I learned about the Japanese system, when I came back the first time as the director of the International Islamic Studies Islamic School, I know when Shakur and Naza still remember, I implemented Tokkatsu. I mean, I wanted to implement it. I have a lot of slides and so on. I showed to the teachers. So, and we don't have money at that point in time, you know. So we could save money on janitors. So I said, no, we will try two things. One is cleaning. The other is cleaning for toilet and eating and cleaning. So we tried. Eating. I think there was no problem. But with the cleaning, the toilet, all the parents got very upset. Because this is an international school, private school, they pay so much, and now you're asking my children to clean the bathroom. So I guess the principal did not brief the parents what they were doing. I mean, I left it to them because I just showed them we should try to do this. So it didn't work. It failed. So I think what the challenge, Shakur, it failed. Okay, but I think if there's communication and there's briefing, I think it could work. And now the ministry is picking it up. So when after the ministry people came and so I've written actually about half the book, but I stopped because I was so busy. Then I completed the rest. So this is the book. It's called Pendidikan Holistic Model Jepun by the Ambassador Pustaka. I wrote it in Malay because my audience are the Malaysian people, not the international people. There are many other books that they can refer to. But it's for Malaysian teachers, okay? So, and I mentioned also Tokkatsu here, and I mentioned in the forward, my what do you call it? What is it? What's your name? Huh? What's your name?
Oh yeah, this one. Right. Ya, saya ingin mengucapkan terima kasih yang tak terhingga pada rakan pensyarah di Jepun yang banyak membantu dalam aspek pemilihan pembantu penyelidik, assistant, tadika, pasca, sekolah rendah menengah ketika lawatan di Tokyo pada tahun 2006 dan di Nagoya pada tahun 2011 yang membolehkan saya menemu buat guru dan murid-murid. Khususnya saya berterima kasih kepada sahabat karib saya, Profesor Royoko Sumiyoshi. You understand this, okay? You gave me one book in Japanese before. So. Sarjana Sosiologi Pendidikan dari Universiti Tokyo, kini nak Presiden Universiti Bokyo Gakuin yang dikenali sejak tahun 1984. Profesor Setsuo Nishino dan Profesor Minatori, dua orang sarjana pengajian pendidikan Islam dari Universiti Nagoya. Misao Miyake Sensei, mantan pengetua sekolah menengah dan pusat sambilan di Universiti Nagoya. Serta pelajar mereka yang menemani saya, Izumi Mori daripada Shizuoka University Tokyo, ini tak tamat pengajian daripada Universiti Princeton. Ya. She studied in Princeton, eh? She finished her study in Princeton. Tadi satu student, Miyako Suzuki dan Amimoto, mahasiswa daripada Nagoya. Pengetua sekolah rendah Onan Hotel kita, Talika Dongori dari Nagoya. Jadi dan of course Japanese Foundation. Jadi maksud saya di sini untuk menggalakkan, I want to encourage all my fellow student, budding lecturers to build friendships with internationals. I also got friends from America, and when Professor Royoko talked about this Tokkatsu, I thought that the first part where the student has class presentation every morning, right? One group. For the next day, another group telling them about the activity, the discussion in front of their class, and they will question about why they want to do this and that. That is part of hikmah pedagogy, done very quickly, in 5 minutes. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share, and you can get this if you want this as a group. I can order at Otto's price. Otherwise, you have to pay at the normal price at Donbass. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I will also, inshallah, the kuliah is also presenting you a book of ours called Hikmah Pedagogy, which we have been talking a lot, okay, and I hope you can read it, and the revitalization of Islamic philosophy and philosophical inquiry.
Okay, to mark the beautiful relationship between Prof. Rusnani and Prof. Yoko, okay, Prof. Rusnani accompanied by our head of department, Dr. Siti Khalija. Okay, it's delightful to present the book to Prof. Yoko. Okay, thank you, Prof. Rusnani. And Prof. Yoko and Dr. Siti Khalija, can you please remain on stage? Yeah. Okay, so now I would like to invite. Yes, enough. Okay. So now I would like to invite the head of department, Dr. Siti Khalija, accompanied by our Deputy Dean of Academic and Internationalization, Dr. Ridwan, and also the program manager of the event, Dr. Mastura, okay, for the token giving by the department. Okay, thank you, Prof. Yoko. Okay, so once again, we sincerely thank you, Prof. Yoko, for her enlightening session. May the knowledge shared today be beneficial and contribute to the continuous improvement in the education. Okay, before we end, I would like to announce that after this session, there will be a presentation by Prof. Yoko's PhD student. Okay, so together with us here, we have Sister Uehara. Okay, that Sister Uehara will present something related to what he has been doing. Okay, so for the postgraduate students, okay, please remain. Okay, while others, you are welcome to stay or leave the session. Okay, but before that, okay, please remain for the photography session. Okay. Okay, so may Allah bless our effort in seeking and applying knowledge for the betterment for our communities. Jazakumullahu khairan. Thank you to everyone for your participation, and may we continue to strive for excellence in both knowledge and character. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. And with Allah's guidance and direction, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be upon you. So after this, I will hand over the session to Katsa, okay, the Kuliah of Education Postgraduate Student Association, who will be leading for the second session. Okay, now let us proceed with the photography taking.